Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Evan Teague, whipping like always is the man who has to admit that I was right, Noah Bailey.
Oh, this should be good.
So, um, ever since Comic Con this year, I have gone on record stating there is no chance that we're getting two Avengers movies in 2025. There was no chance of that happening. And you were like, but it would be cool if it did. I didn't disagree
It
with there's
would be
but
cool.
there's no shot of that happening. And guess what? So the story initially kind of broke as just being about the fact that Blade was having some production issues. Apparently, the script wasn't much of anything. There's only one major action sequence. Mahershala Ali was not like working well with the director. Just didn't like what was happening on set. So that director got axed, and they are like finding some new people to write the script and whatnot. And then but like that happened back in like late August. We're like, well, it's started filming in November, so maybe they'll get something worked out by then. But no, they completely shut down pre-production for that movie, and that movie got delayed until September 2024, which means they had to move some other stuff around because that was originally Deadpool 3's date, so that got pushed to November 8th, 2024, which was Fantastic Four's release date, which that got pushed to February 14th, 2025. Okay, so. And then I think it only makes sense after that for them to then push Secret Wars out of November 2025 into May of 2026, which they should have just gone ahead and done in the first place. Why even announce a release date for that movie when you know it's not going to happen that day?
Because then we have us talking about it.
Yeah. Like I know they wanted to show their grand timeline for everything in the future, but you didn't have to give dates for these things. Like you could just say, "Oh, we're doing Secret Wars. The next Avengers movie is called Kang Dynasty. We're then doing Secret Wars after that." You didn't have to give these hard release dates. Like they didn't have to happen, but they did. So the currently there's not a replacement movie for Blade Spot, which was originally November 2023, but we're still getting 3 Marvel movies next year and plenty of shows and stuff, so I'm fine with that. And then 2024, we're getting Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, and Blade, and Deadpool 3 on top of whatever shows. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's not canceled, I mean, it's fine to move stuff around because it's years in the future anyway. So it's not like I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna be missing those extra 100 and whatever days. Like,
Yeah, it also not that I'm feeling burnt out on Marvel stuff, but I think it's probably for the best, especially for the VFX artists who I'm sure haven't seen their family in 12 years.
they've been working from home during COVID.
Oh
It's
yeah, that's so
fine.
much easier. Yeah, yeah, totally.
They're fine.
Well,
Their
I
kids are in the background. It's fine.
I felt so bad because like I know they're gonna go big for Fantastic Four. I know they're obviously gonna go big for both Avengers movies, and both those being in the same year. There is no possible way Secret Wars is gonna look good if it comes right after Kang Dynasty. Like that's just not. There's no literally isn't enough people on this planet to make that happen.
I mean, what's a few days without sunlight? Like, it's fine. You can make it work.
So having only 3 movies next year, uh, that being Ant-Man, Guardians, and Captain Marvel 2. I guess the Marvels now, technically. Um, on top of whatever shows are happening, I don't even remember at this point all that's coming out. I think that's good. There's plenty of other content coming out next year as well. Um, So that's fine. Also, you know, the Fantastic Four franchise has historically been cursed for one reason or the other. No movie has ever been any good. The best one was the 2005 movie, which even that is not great. It's like fine, but kind of annoying, I think.
I mean, for mid 2000s, outside of like Spider Man and X Men, it's not too bad. But like, because
It
like when you think about the other movies like Daredevil and stuff like that, you're like, well, it's not as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, like even Batman Begins isn't the greatest thing ever. Like it's a good start to a trilogy, but it's not the greatest movie. But like yeah,
Mm.
Catwoman, the Punisher movie, um,
So I'm
Superman
just like,
Returns. Like these movies were just kind of either dull or boring or just annoying. Just I think Captain. Sorry, yeah, Fantastic Four is just it falls more into just like weird and annoying territory. It's campy, but not in a way that I like. I think.
hmm,
So them pushing that to February 2025, they're taking their time with it. That's fine. Very fine.
yeah, it's probably needed to be honest.
Yeah. And somewhere in there, we're also going to hopefully get something more with the Eternals. Shang-Chi 2 is going to be in there somewhere. Armor Wars is now a movie in there somewhere. So they still got their hands full. There's still plenty of stuff coming. But Secret Wars have been pushed to May 2026, which I believe to be the right call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just space it out a little more and like yeah, keep it a little like yeah, because like when you have everything back to back to back to back, it does kind of feel a little clustered, and it's like okay, we can't watch all like we can, but we're probably not going to watch all of this
Yeah.
right at the same time. Like even when they had like multiple shows going on, it's kind of like all right, let's settle down.
Yeah.
Like
Like, I'm liking right now that She Hulk just ended today, which we'll probably review next week. I like
mm,
that She Hulk and Andor were running at the same time on different days. But even then, like, I couldn't help but feel like, I don't know, like it was just within the age of streaming, there is such thing as content overload. When you have stuff to look forward
yes,
to, is just like there's
there's
so
too
much stuff.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stuff you got to catch up on, stuff you're binge watching for the first time. There's so much anime out right now that I need to watch.
dude,
My Hero just
so
came out,
much
Mob Psycho,
anime.
Chainsaw Man, like all these things are.
Yeah, yes, dude, Chainsaw it, bro. Yeah, like Spy Family, all these. Like, there's
Mhm.
so much to catch up on, and it's just like, oh no, there's new episodes. Oh no, there's other new episodes. Oh no, like, and then it's like also life is happening.
Yeah.
It's like, do I retire from being a person for a week to watch shows? Yeah, I could do that. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like
I got time.
it's okay. I don't need to see people for a few days. It's fine. Like, it's fine. I gotta get caught up.
Mhm. So
So much
yeah,
anime.
so as long as this does result in better movies, I'm all for these delays. That is not a problem for me. It does kind of irritate me, like not really, but like a little bit, kind of, to, that Blade was. I was when that movie was first released. It was first announced. I was like, it's very funny that it's coming out 8 days after Halloween, when like Blade is about a vampire hunter, and I feel it would work very well in October. And then it got
Mm.
delayed to September of 2024. I was like, just, just one more.
I, I mean, there's still time. They can scooch it.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's still time. They probably will.
I mean,
Honestly.
I'm joking, of course, because then it would be too close to Deadpool 3, and that.
Well, yeah, but still, it's like, I mean,
I mean, I personally could even see them do a thing where Deadpool 3 and Blade switch places, like they
yeah,
did with the Marvels and Ant-Man. Those were switched at one point, and then they got switched back, so they could easily just like Blade. You need a little more time in November. Deadpool going back to the original spot on September 6th.
yeah, and I mean, those movies are more than likely aren't going to have any real overlap in anything. So it's like you can probably put them in whatever order you want.
Yeah,
So and they feel like they can probably just, you know what? Yeah, that's a good point. Like,
yeah. Um, I'm also gonna just throw this out there. I'm not like as sold on this idea that I was as Secret Wars getting delayed, but I personally feel of the movies in the current lineup to be delayed again, I think Thunderbolts has a very high chance of getting pushed out of 2024.
Mm.
For two reasons. One, I think I have a feeling there's a pretty decent chance that obviously no production of anything had happened on the movie yet, so there's plenty of time to change whatever. And I think
Exactly.
general fan reaction to that movie so far has been kind of middling, where it's like, oh,
Mm.
a bunch of super soldiers and some ninjas and Ghost. It's like, okay. It's like like
I mean, it's
I
cool that.
I like all those characters, but that lineup is not the most exciting to want to watch.
Well, like you said, like the other time, it's like that Suicide Squad joke where it's like, he just everything I do, but yeah, I do it better. Like,
Like you can first of all, I just don't feel like Bucky should be on that team. I feel like that's too
no.
much. Like
One, I think Bucky's kind of like, I feel like Bucky can kind of just be done by like now. It's like, not that I'm tired of his character, but it's like I feel like Bucky's been through enough that like he can retire.
yeah,
Like,
like I think he could show up in Captain America 4 as a side
oh yeah,
character, but
I'd much rather have that.
I don't think he should show up on the Thunderbolts. So like I think Red Guardian and U.S. Agent, sure, have them both on the team, whatever.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But then also having uh, Yelena and Taskmaster, who are both widows,
Widows are kind of, yeah.
overlay there, and then I don't know. I feel like there are other players in the Marvel universe right now. Like, um,
Zemo.
I mean, I'm sure he's gonna be in there somewhere. Like, I don't
I
know. I don't
know.
think he'll be on the team. He'll be a villain somehow, but like whatever. There's other characters uh, they'll
It feels
yeah.
like, again, I know this is like, just wishful thinking, but it's like, man, like this game could really use a Killmonger.
I kind of agree.
Right? Because like every time I look at this team, I'm like, oh, this team would be so much better if they had Killmonger still. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it nearly as much. It's like, because it would just make it tie together more. Because he kind of has a good enough mix of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's part super soldier, part like master,
Mm.
like fighter, part everything, tech, everything.
I don't. I don't know if he would be super keen to working with the U.S. government on this secret job, but like
Well, he was a decorated soldier, so I mean,
for for his own means, like he wasn't not like
yeah, but I mean, you could say the same thing about U.S. Agent
yeah,
almost. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. I don't know. I like Abomination is kicking around. I know, like no spoilers for She-Hulk, but like there's some stuff there that like you maybe could get him later.
hmm
Um, but I don't know. I feel there's gonna be plenty of other movies between now and then anyway. So they could have somebody either introduce new people or throw someone else in one of these movies in there. So that's one reason why I think this movie could get delayed, just to have more time to flesh out the characters they want to add, shuffle around. The other reason is apparently Sony is eyeing summer 2024 for the next Spider-Man movie.
oh,
So if that were the case, Captain America 4, Spider Man 4, and the Thunderbolts all in the same summer would be too much.
I mean, is too much a bad thing? Yeah,
When you're a multi-billion dollar company who's trying to compete with yourself, like kinda in like
I
especially if one of
mean,
your project isn't looking as significant as the others right now, like you know, Black Widow already didn't do the best. Obviously, COVID had something to do with that, but like this is kind of that director's next opportunity to really break into
mhm.
Marvel. And if it's you have to kind of compete next to Spider Man, I think she would be a little
Yeah, that's
miffed by that.
true. That's true. I mean, again, there's still time to move and Uber everything around so everyone gets his fair share, especially like you said, with competing with your own market. But like,
Mm.
At the same time, I mean, if you spread it out enough, like if it's like early mid May, then like early July, and then like mid to late August. I mean, that's like
And then also September for Blade, and then also Deadpool in November. Like that's a lot.
that's a ton. Yeah, there's no way. We'll just make that every month. It's just a new Marvel movie.
And
That's
like
way too much.
I would be there, but I don't think the box office would love that. I don't think
I
they
mean,
would love
I
the
don't
numbers that
like.
much.
My thing is, even me, as a diehard fan, would even probably be tired of it because, like, even when we were doing double duty with like when like Star Wars and Marvel and like Star Wars, like what is that? Even then, I'm just like, oh man, like you know what I mean? Because it's like you watch other stuff, you watch that, and then it's like you also have a
Mm.
job, so you're like, you know what I mean? You're doing stuff all the time. You're just like, it's like homework, man. It's like, oh man, you want to hang out? Nah, man, I got to catch up on you know Moon
Whatever.
Knight or whatever show. Like I'm always
Uh,
it's like, oh man, so it's like. I know it's different with movies because it's you only need to see a movie one time. You don't have to like watch it recurring throughout the weeks, but
mm.
it's still like you need time for a movie to digest. Because yeah, I think they are kind of. I do think it's a little oversaturated because it's not like there's not going to be other movies I'm not
Right.
going to want to watch. You know what I mean? So it's like, especially during the summer too, because like one, we don't get summers off anymore, and two,
That
like
sucks, man.
yeah, dude, I just don't even get me started. Man. I had one of those like, dang, we didn't know how good we had it feel like the other day. I was just like, man,
Need a
that was
break.
so nice. but but money's also a lot really nice too.
I
So
guess.
it's fair,
I guess. I need money to watch movies. So.
right? Who's gonna buy the popcorn? Like you know what I mean? Like
And I also think that Sony pushing ahead with Spider-Man 4, I think because there's those two different, Marvel and Sony both going in on that, I think if Sony wants summer 2024, I think Marvel may kind of have to schedule around that because it'll be harder to negotiate like with between two different entities. It is just Marvel being like, okay, we'll move this for now. Um, but I Although they did specifically say that Thunderbolts would end Phase 5. Yeah, Phase 5. But I guess Spider-Man or Blade could do that, so it's not a huge deal. But which I don't know. I'm sure they'll figure it out. Yep.
yeah, I'll figure it out. Like how it's gonna go, but it'll be okay.
But regardless, like as long as these delays end up making better movies, which I do think they've kind of taken into consideration all the like you know somewhat negative fan reaction to the recent Marvel stuff. Like I thought Multiverse of Madness was a lot of fun, but it kind of underwhelmed me to an extent, and a lot of fans kind of felt the same way. Same exactly about Thor: Love and Thunder, which even had a more visceral reaction to that. Um,
Yeah,
Not every Marvel show has been like super high tier, so I think spacing this out and making sure every project is as good as it could possibly be is the right play. Yeah. Um, let's see. Moving over to DC stuff for just a second. So it's looking like Superman is almost definitely going to kind of be in Black Adam.
yeah. I saw something where it's like the person leaking Black Adam's Dwayne Johnson or something like
I,
that, and I'm just like,
I mean,
really?
he's in almost every single interview. He's like very openly been like, Black Adam is the most powerful being on this planet. There's another being out there who was the most powerful being in the universe. He might be around somewhere, but Black Adam is the most powerful universe, right in the most powerful character on this planet right now. And it's like, okay. Like,
Tell me more, please.
yeah.
Like,
And the funniest thing about this, the Zack Snyder fanboys are the the funniest people on the planet. It's like, first of all, they didn't give a crap about Black Adam for years until 2 days ago when this information leaked. It's all, why is this movie getting made? It seems to be erasing everything. Like, it seems to be following the 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 whatever Joss Whedon universe, whatever they want to call it. Like, and then randomly, you know, some like there was some reference to like something that happened in Zack Snyder's Justice League, it kind of in one of the trailers. Like, oh, they are acknowledging the Zack Snyder's universe. This is expanding the DCEU, but then the leak came out that Superman would be in the movie wearing his blue, like his his boring blue and red costume, and people are like, why is he not wearing his iconic black costume from Zack Snyder's Justice League? Like, why would you disrespect your fans like that? Even though in Zack Snyder's,
Disrespect your fans.
I'm not kidding. People said stuff like that. Even though in Zack Snyder's Justice League, in the Nightmare sequence, he is wearing the red and blue suit. So it's only fair that it only makes sense that he would stop wearing the black suit at some point. Also, if you're gonna have Superman in your movie, you probably shouldn't also wear a black suit at the same time Black Adam is wearing a black suit. It just makes sense.
Well, my thing is, why would he be wearing a black suit?
I mean,
I understand people like the black suit, but I feel like it's not a necessity.
it's also not utilized in the same way in the movie as it was in the
No.
comics. So like, why did he even have it in the first place? It's just one of the suits that was in his ship for some reason, so he just puts it on. And
just because like that. Well, that's kind of my thing. It's one of those references just to have a reference. Like, we're just gonna do this. We're not gonna explain why it makes sense, but we're just gonna do it. So it's like, okay, sure, whatever. Like,
but regardless, his red and blue is Superman's colors. That's how he started this universe, in red and blue in Man of Steel and BVS. So like, wouldn't you want him to?
I mean, that's iconic Superman.
Yeah. But they kind of like got off of that real quick and jumped back onto Henry Cavill's back as Superman, and now there's rumors of a Black Adam versus Superman movie. It's like, I feel like you're skipping over Black Adam's actual rival of DC, but whatever. Like,
because Black Shazam versus Black Adam doesn't grab the box office like, because you know what it's just like Batman versus Superman. Like, they're immediately gonna skip every single like iteration, just go, you know what? We're just gonna go straight to Dark Knight Returns. That's just like,
okay.
We didn't even have Batman yesterday. Like, it's like,
okay, sure, whatever.
You know what? It's fine. Everything's fine.
Like, Black Adam was even referenced in the Shazam movie, but he's never gonna meet Shazam. Like, okay.
I don't know. Well, my thing is, like, they're making Shazam 2 also, so it's kind of like, are we just gonna ignore how like these guys just aren't like what?
Black Adam might show up in the after credits scene of Shazam: Fury of the Gods or whatever, but I don't know that. I don't know. Like, it's been very, very funny watching the fanboys just not care about this movie at all, because Henry Cavill is gonna have a 30-second after credit scene cameo. All of a sudden, this movie's gonna save the DC. It was just it's been very fun to watch.
I mean, it is what it is. What is it, next Friday?
The 21st, yeah.
Black Adam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we'll see.
The trailers look fun. Like, it doesn't necessarily look like an outright bad movie. Like, not even like a Venom situation, where just from the trailers I was like, wow, that looks like not a lot of fun. Like, this movie at least looks like the people making it had a fun time making it. That's got to count for something. So
it looks, again, I expected nothing. It looks like something.
Yes.
But also looking like something, it could still be nothing, because
Correct.
they could have just put everything in the trailer that was cool, which does I kind of do get that vibe.
Uh-huh.
Because they kind of really went, like, they haven't shown it. Like, it's like, like you haven't seen a lot of certain characters, but the parts you have seen seems like really cool. Like I'm thinking like the Doctor Fate stuff, and I'm
Uh,
like, they've only seen like two things for Doctor Fate, and like the other thing I saw was really awesome. I'm like, that's really gonna be it for
Adam
Doctor Fate. You know
Smasher
what
is
I
gonna have
mean?
at least gonna have no more than two lines, and the like one shot of the trailer of him just like slamming Black Adam. That's the only thing he's gonna be doing in the whole movie. Like he's not gonna have any other action scene. He's probably gonna die right after or something. Um, yeah, Doctor Fate. Those effects aren't cheap. So I guarantee, he's not gonna have more than two major sequences. Um, there is also this other villain who's going to show up at the end that they have to team up or whatever to fight. So, but it looks like it could be fun. Could be fun.
Yeah.
Like if you go in expecting a 7, you might be surprised.
I mean, like, it could be great.
Yeah.
It could be terrible, or it could. I think it's gonna be. No, it's all right.
Yeah.
Like that's what I feel like that's gonna be.
I agree. I do think it has a pretty high chance of making somewhere north of 700-800 million on the box office. I think there's no other big
Yeah, I
movies
mean,
out right now outside of kind of the
that's what
Halloween
I'm thinking.
movie,
It's a
which
good. It's a good clean spot because, like, again, it's Black Panther doesn't come out till next month,
mm,
and outside of that, there's not really a ton. Because me and my friend were talking about, like, we're movie people, and there's not really a ton out right now. So
yeah. Let's see, Halloween Ends, Smile, a bunch of horror, like
yeah,
other
but
horror
those aren't even
stuff.
the same. Yeah, those aren't even the same demographic. I mean,
No.
that's just October spooky movies. That's not even.
Yeah. Um,
So it's probably fine.
yeah, I can't
That
really
smile
think
thing
of it.
looks so creepy though. Have you seen that?
Nope, I don't want
I'm
to.
just
Nope.
like, nope,
I don't do
nope,
that kind of movie.
nope. Someone's gonna be, did you enjoy the movie? It's still going on. Like, no, I do not need that in my
No.
life. I am good.
Um, yeah, I'll probably see it at some point. So, um, another movie that I probably have to see just to say I've seen it. That Mario movie got a trailer.
Hey, that trailer looked fun.
It
I'm not
did.
gonna
It
lie.
did. The Bowser bit specifically looked really good.
Yes. No, the Bowser part was great. Do you hear?
I do not.
I don't. Wrecks everyone. No, I'm going to see this movie.
Oh, yeah. Keegan Michael Key as Toad, I thought would sound weird, but he sounds great as Toad. Obviously, Bowser, Jack Black kills it. Like
Check this out for him.
it's one of those things where like I could, if you didn't tell me he was Jack Black, I probably wouldn't be able to just clock it as Jack Black because I know it's Jack Black. I can like kind of hear him doing it, but like it's good enough where I don't even care.
Well, it's funny because it's like you don't necessarily immediately associate. Like I associate it as just like angry Kung Fu Panda.
Yes.
But I know Kung Fu Panda's Jack Black, so then I know it's Jack Black. But it's like, if I didn't know Jack Black was Kung Fu Panda, I probably wouldn't think it's Jack Black. Because he just sounds like more angsty Kung Fu Panda. It works, though.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, though, Chris Pratt's Mario did kind of throw me off. It doesn't. That one I'm still not feeling.
It is very funny, the fact that, like I said, Toad, like Keegan Michael Key actually tried to do Toad, and he did it well. Jack Black sounds like Bowser. Kamek, like I've never heard Kevin Michael Richardson do a character like that yet. That's Kamek. Chris Pratt is just Chris Pratt.
That's what I'm saying.
He has like a slight, like I don't even know what accent it is. He's like doing some kind of weird thing with his voice, but it's not really.
It's like
it's just.
It sounds like he forgets he has to do an accent halfway through doing his lines, and then at the end just adds something
Right.
to make you think it. It's like, bro, he's just talking. It's okay.
Like
don't commit if you're not going to commit.
I don't necessarily think I would want the like generic Mario voice from the games the entire movie, but I don't know, someone who could sound more Italian, I guess. I don't know. it it's definitely a very different take on the character, and I we'll see how it goes. Yeah, but the animation looks phenomenal. That's the
Yes.
main thing I was kind of
Yes.
worried about, but it looks
Which is
very good.
important.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, no, I mean, if it doesn't look right, it's just the whole movie's not going to work. So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it does look really crisp. Because, again, that scene with, like, Bowser in the standoff, I mean, he looked like that looked
Yeah.
good.
I loved the penguins. That was fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah, that's coming out, I think, March. So, yeah, let me check something real quick. Hey, March 10th is a Friday. I wonder if it's coming out that day. 'Cause that's Mario Day, March 10th.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, so if they
Never
don't
knew
do that,
that.
I'm disappointed. Um,
Probably will be.
oh, sorry, April 7th. Okay, you
Oof.
had your chance, but you blew it.
Wait, why is it Mario Day? What?
Mar 10th, Mario.
What?
I didn't.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, no, sorry, that took me a second. So I was like, "What do you mean, Mart? Like, what was the point of this? Mart, and then like one
Yeah,
zero, but like I. Oh, okay, now I
yeah.
get it. That's one of those you have to like subtitles on would have been very helpful.
Yeah, 10, yeah.
No, but like, I mean, I never knew that. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. That's good to know. But
but
eh,
yeah.
yeah,
Um,
they could drop the ball. Way to go. They'll
um,
probably move it and then act like they knew what they were doing,
it's like this the whole time.
right? Like, oh yeah, totally.
Totally, yeah. Um, a few more things here. Dune 2 has an official release date of November 2023.
Hey,
So instead of Blade, we'll be watching that. Cool.
yep.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. I kind of forgot about Dune, to be honest. So I saw that. I
Yeah,
was
like
excited.
I definitely need to rewatch it. Like it was one of those movies that like you ever have those movies where you watch it and you're like, this is a really, really good movie. But I don't know if I loved it. Like I don't know if I enjoyed watching it. Like it was the acting was fantastic. The graphics were good. Everything about it was very solid. I liked all the actors. But like I don't know. I just felt like I was just kind of watching it, and like not that that's bad. I just wasn't. I didn't really have a connection to the movie, and like I maybe after a rewatch, like after we, and I know it was only like a quarter of the actual story, so like watch it again leading into the sequel. Maybe it'll give me more like context into what's actually happening. But I liked it. I just I can't like I won't like necessarily sing its praises like other people do. I don't know. It's yeah. Well, do we ever really talk about this? What were your overall thoughts about the first one?
I mean, okay. So here's my thing. It kind of like okay. So you know how the first Harry Potter movie
Mm-hmm.
isn't bad, but
Yeah.
it's like there's more there's going, and eventually they do kind of further expand.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about this movie. It's like this is not a bad movie. It's not great, but it's one of those movies that as like it's a good exposition movie. It
Yes.
sets up a lot of things. And even how it ends very like and the adventure continues kind of
Yes.
feels like the ending of the movie. And again, that's great. It's just right now we're kind of stuck in the like waiting process. So like right now, it kind of like you can't fully judge this movie until you see what comes next
Mm.
because it's like it's this movie isn't set to tell a story. This is only part of a story. Like
Yes.
this movie was not designed to tell a whole story, and that's fine because this is supposed to be what a trilogy or
I
something
think
like that.
at
So
least
like
a trilogy. Yeah.
yeah, at the least. So it's like okay, Now, when the next one comes out, I feel like it's fair to judge the first one more because it's like, okay, we see what this is leading up to. This has caused some. This has led to some. This kind of looks like it got dropped. Maybe it'll be pick up, but probably not.
Mm.
Because even with Star Wars movies, kind of like, because when you look at like A New Hope, it's like A New Hope on itself can be its own movie,
Mm.
and it ends like that. But knowing what we know now, it's okay. But this movie, everyone knows going in, this is not going to be the only movie.
Yes.
And the movie knows that. So this movie very much ends without a conclusion. So you can't really judge it. So pretty much it's kind of open ended how I feel. Like I like where we started with, but I can't be satisfied if this is it.
And I think you mentioning this basically is just a bunch of exposition was kind of my major, like, I don't even want to say issue necessarily, because the Dune mythos is crazy. It's like I've seen like several YouTube videos going over like the basic story of it. It's a lot. There's a lot of backstory. There's a lot of like politics and mythos and like stuff going on. So watching this movie, it clearly spent like 80% of its runtime just like explaining to the audience, this is how this world works. This is how these characters interact with the world. Here's the hierarchies. Here are the bad guys that are like. So kind of because of that, I felt like there wasn't really a beginning, middle, and end. I felt like it just kind of like this happened, and then this like it kind of felt like a lot of just like individual scenes that were happening that kind of strung together for to a somewhat cohesive narrative, but like individually they didn't really do a lot outside of just like introducing something new to the universe, which will be expanded more on in future movies. So the next movie is probably going to be gonna spend like basically no time explaining anything and just going full on,
right. It's gonna
story,
kind of hit the ground running,
which is great. Because like I said, I think we only had, I think even though it was going to be a trilogy, this is only about a quarter of the book. But since we got all of the exposition out of the way, we're
which is wild because that was a long movie.
like 2.5 hours.
That's what I was like. I was like 2.5, and that's like that was a long movie for it all to be. And that's kind of why it was hard at first. Because it's like the movie legitimately is like an hour and a half of exposition out of like a 2.5 hour movie. And then the part that does happen that moves the story along can be summed up in about 10 minutes.
Yeah. And Zendaya is barely in it.
Like, bro, right? That was like, I think that was the part where like it was the funniest thing. Because I remember we were almost done with the movie, and I was like, yo, I haven't seen Zendaya at all. You know what I mean? I was just kind of like, because like she was one of the headliners for it. Because it's like, okay, we saw, Timothy Chalamet, we saw Oscar Isaac, we saw Jason Momoa, we saw Josh Brolin, like we saw all these guys, and granted half of them died, but like, you know what I mean? Like, or at least, died or whatever happened. And I was like, wait, where's Zendaya? You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, at the very end, it's like, oh wow, look, 7 minutes of screen time. Like, like, so yeah, again, and again, I feel like the next movie, clearly it's gonna go a lot more. It's gonna happen with that. But it was just kind of like, man, that was a lot to set up. And I feel bad because it's like, I know I'm gonna have to rewatch that movie at least once before the next one comes out. Because there was a lot that I forgot. Because a lot happened. Because it's like
a lot happened.
Yeah, like okay, so it's like his father is this like diplomat of some kind, and they're they are basically leading an excavation of this new planet, but his mother is also somehow part of this like secret witch society or something.
Yeah, I don't understand the witches. I don't understand the box. Like
the like box of pain or whatever, which
like
was
that,
so
that's
creepy,
one of those scenes
cool.
where it's like this is happening. I'm sure this is like setting up some grander narrative.
Right.
But I don't in this movie, even in this scene, I don't get why this is happening.
Well, that's kind of what I think too, because it's like I feel like the next movie really is going to have a lot of aha moments because like there's so many things that are unresolved. It's kind of like, all right, what's in the box? Okay, what is this whole secret society? Does that matter? What about this? Okay, this entire group of people that we talked about, the like, what is it, Sand Travelers? Something like that.
Something like that. Sandweavers?
There was some,
maybe? Yeah.
It was saying something. I don't
Yeah.
know. It was saying something, but like this entire, we never saw the whole movie till the very end. I'm like, okay, well now we need to go about this because that's a
Mm-hmm.
lie. And apparently he be like, and he there's this prophecy where he's like their chosen one or something, which was also kind of thrown
Yeah.
kind of out of
I'm not going
nowhere.
to spoil anything, but it gets weird. It
Like
gets weird.
I'm sure it gets wild, and I'm like, and again, I'm for it, of course,
Yeah.
because like, why not? But just like, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely am excited for the sequel, and I'm excited to rewatch the first one, knowing like what the movie is now, because I didn't really like know what all the movie was going to really be, because I've only really like learned about the Dune universe after watching the movie. So like knowing what it is now, actually going in with that mindset, I might be able to enjoy it more. But yeah, I'm excited for the sequel coming out next November. So cool.
Bring it on.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Another movie coming out in the. Actually, they didn't really give a release date, but apparently a new Spawn movie starring Jamie Foxx is in the works.
Mm,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
I know. I
fun.
heard Jamie Foxx, and I was like, yeah, that'll work. I Jamie Foxx is one of those actors I really like because like when he does a character, he doesn't care. Like he gets into it. Like it's
Mm,
very good because it's like whether it's like Django or like the Soloist or something like that, and he gets into it.
yes.
So I'm all for it. So because Spawn's that kind of just like wild out there kind of character that I could see like a Jamie Foxx really getting into,
Yeah.
and I'm really excited about
Yeah,
that.
and Spawn is another one of those movies that we got in like the early 2000s that was weird and bad.
Yep.
So, a new one of those is not
Yep.
unwelcome.
Yeah. And again, basically uncharted territory because again, that movie was no one really saw that movie, so
Mm,
like you can kind of do whatever you want with this.
yeah. So, cool. I don't know if we know what studio or who's directing or when it's like timeline or whatever, but it's coming out in the future. So,
Woo.
that's cool. Yeah. Um, last little bit of news that I have. It's been reported today that Invincible is getting some video games.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. No information outside of that. Just Invincible games are coming. And
Drop.
I saw one tweet that was like, it would be so funny if this is the one game where you literally cannot win any of the boss fights. Like it is the point of the game for you to get your butt handed to you every single
No,
time.
no, it'll be funny. It'll be like the last level on Jedi Fallen Order. It's just like Battle Beast. You're like, all right, I can take this guy, and then there's no health bar, and you're just like, oh no. Or it's just like information survive.
What?
Like, oh
Uh,
man.
I so the thing that makes Invincible, the guy so fun to watch is the fact that he gets beaten to a bloody pulp every single fight. Yeah, like he does keep fighting. So I that's gonna be kind of hard to translate into a video game. Like either he's gonna have to have a lot of health, or essentially like as you're fighting, he like the model like he gets bloodier and gets just more disfigured, but like that doesn't. I don't know. Like how do you think they could really translate that into a game setting?
What I'm thinking, I just thought of this just now,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, one mechanic that could be cool is like, as you kind of get beat up, kind of like how the title card goes, the screen could get bloody,
Mm-hmm.
and then if it gets totally like covered, then you lose.
Ah,
But it's
yeah,
like, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, I don't know. I thought that would be interesting because it's like, like in a real fight, if you're getting beat up, you're gonna be like, blood's in your face,
yeah.
you're woozy, you know what I mean? Especially in this show. I mean, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
like, and I think that could be kind of cool. It's kind of like he could like progressively like heal over time, but like, yeah, it's like he gets blood. The screen gets bloody and red. He's moves slower. He's getting beat up. So
Mm-hmm.
like, maybe that'd be a good way to like, because he is essentially invulnerable still. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, because like most shooters have a thing where if you get hit, yeah, the screen changes color,
Right, like Call of Duty, but like to a
actually,
higher extent like that.
yeah, I do think that could potentially be annoying to actually play if you can't see what's going on, but that's also the point.
It's like
So
get good. I mean, to
yeah,
one extent, like
like we're assuming it's like going to be like a 3D like Dragon Ball
oh yeah,
Xenoverse
yeah, yeah,
style. Yeah.
yeah, open world ish kind of. Yeah,
Mm.
don't like yeah, it's not gonna be like a beat 'em up or anything. Well, maybe I don't know. Like kind of a beat 'em up, but kind of more like I don't know, because it's like even his power set we kind of because like I'm thinking like Spider Man or like Arkham style, but then you can
Mm.
fly, super speed, all that. So it's like, man, that'd be kind of like it'd be pretty awesome. But like, can you
Yeah.
imagine like that scene with like what is it, the Flaxons or whatever, where they're just like
Mm.
portals in the city and they're just going ape, and it's just like, all right, well, here we go.
Yeah, and
Like,
like in a situation like that, your job is just like fight off either for a certain amount of time or don't let these important landmarks get destroyed or something.
yeah, like save as many people as you can or whatever.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
like, it's
it's
good.
definitely gonna have to be rated M though.
Very yes. And yeah, like other random characters can show up and help you out with whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think if the right developers get their hands on it, they could potentially make something pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, I don't think it's going to be another, several years before that actually happens.
No, it's gonna be a while. But I mean, in the meantime, they could help out with Invincible season 2, which is
Still
still.
not out. they,
Ugh,
I assume they're making two
why?
and three at the same time to make that timeline between them faster. But like, I want it
Like,
now.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, you can work on season 3 while season 2 comes out. Like, I don't know. It's just like it's getting to the point where we've waited so long. I'm starting to kind of like forget how much I liked it because like I haven't even thought about Invincible in months
You'll
until
remember.
just now.
You'll remember.
I know I will. Like I'm not. I don't doubt it. It's just kind of like. Do you remember how long it was between Young Justice from season 2 to season 3, and it was kind of just like,
Yep.
oh yeah, I did really like this show, and then you did, and then you like it. Well, you started to like it again, then it got weird. But like, sorry, not sorry, but like, you know what I mean? Like it. But it's like, oh man, it's been because it's been since. I mean, it was like what 2020.
It was April-ish of 2021
Okay, it
because it
was
premiered the
okay.
same time as Falcon Winter Soldier did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is right.
I
Okay.
remember that specifically because the episode with Battle Beast aired like the same day as the episode where Sean Walker killed that one guy with the shield. So
Uh,
like that back to back was a little like jarring.
it
Like
was a
that was
very
a lot, seeing
violent
a
day
lot of
today. Today was very violent. But no, it's yeah, okay. It's so I guess it hasn't been as long as I thought, but still, it's like other show. Like it's weird to me because it's like I understand this show. There was definitely a lot of effort into it. The animation, its certain parts was really good. The
blood.
voice acting is elite.
Yes.
But I mean, come on, like maybe they didn't expect it to be as big as a hit as they thought. But
Oh,
it's
definitely
like,
that. Definitely, I guarantee what's happening is they started making season two, and then they were given a bigger budget, so they decided to go bigger and actually like, because season one is good, but there's a lot of stuff that could be polished. Like a
yeah,
lot of the scenes of
animation.
yeah of him flying are just like a sticker, just like it's like
Yeah, but like, I mean, part of that is like it kind of fits the comic booky style because
that's
like
true.
in comic books, when someone like I think of like a lot of this like Superman and Justice League stuff I've seen when you have like flying off of this, it's literally just 3 lines and like a
Mm,
dot at the end of the line, like Superman's off to the Daily Planet, and it's like
yeah,
it's like a little speck with lines on it, so it's like it kind of works for me, but it's
yeah.
like I get. That wasn't like my issue because I didn't really like. I know a lot of people had gripes with the animation, but I didn't have any problems with it. But like,
Not really. It was a little more noticeable when I first got this new TV. I didn't realize that motion blur was still on, which like made stuff especially in animation, just kind of look weird. I didn't like realize how to turn off at first. So watching it in upscaled 60 frames per second with motion blur looked very jarring. So like any
What
like
is
mil
motion blur?
it's like it motion smoothing, that's the word, motion smoothing, that's it, sorry.
Oh,
Essentially
okay, no,
like
you're good. I
it's
still don't know what it is. You're
it's essentially
good.
like your TV will like try to like essentially try to add frames to like make things look smoother, but it'll just make things kind of look uncanny, especially
Hmm.
in animation where like they're literally like frames literally aren't drawn. It just tries to make it look smooth so it looks bad. So any imperfections are amplified. Uh, so when I watched it the second time, I was like noticed a few more things, but even then, the good scenes were very good. So like, it was fine. It was fine.
Hmm.
Yeah. Hopefully, early next year for season two, but
I
who
hope
knows?
so, but yeah, I don't know. It's sooner rather than later because it was really good, and
Yes.
I'm excited to see where they go with season two. But
Mm,
I also understand that it do be like that, so
I do.
it do be.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's all the stuff I have. You have anything else you want to bring up or discuss?
No, just next month, Black Panther. We already got it. We my church actually they they rented out a whole like theater, so
Nice.
they are very ready. Which I'm like, yeah,
Very nice.
it's going down. But yeah, really excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah. She-Hulk finished today as we're recording this,
Mhm.
so we'll probably talk about that next week. Are you pretty much caught up?
I'm not all the way caught up. I got like well, 2 or 3 episodes depending on today.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah. Andor is still going very strong. Yesterday's episode was amazing. If you saw it,
Mhm.
it was
See,
really,
I see that's
really
the
good.
thing. It's like I didn't when there's more than one show going at a time because I haven't really gotten to see Andor yet because I've been like She-Hulk and then like what else have I've been watching something else. Oh yeah, no, I've been getting back on an anime train, so like I'm
Hmm.
trying to like
Yeah, I was
like
like Spy Cross Family. That was not something I would expect to hear out of you. Like,
dude, that's so good, bro. It's so
I know
good.
it's a Spy Family, but the X is there, so I have to say it. Just how my
That's
brain works.
fair. That's fair. It's okay. Like I just know, but no, man. It's there's so much good. Like I don't like the other day, me and my brother, we were at our friend's house and we're just going through anime. We were just looking at Crunchyroll. We're just like, oh yeah, that's great. Oh, that show's awesome. Oh, S tier. Oh, great. And then it's like 30 anime. We're like, man, there's so much good. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's like, yeah, it's like we're just naming all. It's like, yeah, this is awesome. Oh, this, oh, dude. Oh, man, yeah, no, and then we're all
Hmm.
just like, ooh, yeah, not that one, but like all the other ones. Yeah, it's like this one, but only the sub. Like, you know what I mean?
uh,
But it's like, but nah, man. There's just so much going on. There's like video games. And then it's also like, yeah, you got to work 9 to 5. So it's like there's a lot going on, but it's worth it because
yeah.
content is life. So
Yeah. How much Andor have you seen so far?
I have not seen any of it.
Okay. Fair
Legitimately, like,
warning. It is a bit of a slow burn. It's one of those shows where the acting is phenomenal, but for the first like 2.5 episodes, like not. It definitely gives off the vibe of like a lot of like those like prestige shows like Breaking Bad and like Game of Thrones and all that,
mm,
where it's like it's mostly just like it's mostly up shouldered by his fantastic acting, which is
yeah,
fine. I'm not used to seeing that in Star Wars, and a lot of Star Wars fans kind of feel the same way because the like viewership of it seems to like dip, even though like as soon as it dipped, it did get like to what they wanted, but yeah, like
it took a minute.
it's
Well, and I'm noticing that more like with She-Hulk too. It's like a lot of these mainstream organizations they're trying to like mix in the genre types. They're like it's
mm,
still like She-Hulk. It's still an action movie, but like between She-Hulk and Ms. Marvel, it's more like comedy superhero sitcom than like superhero show. Which like again, I don't think I understand what they're going for. I just think a lot of fans aren't adjusting to that
right.
super well. And I think, yeah, Andor could be another case where it's like, yeah, we're used to just, Star Wars. If we're not space, if we're not in ships or fighting an alien, what are we doing? You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like,
But yeah, like it's here's a good like kind of parallel. I think Obi-Wan was what I believe to be like it had some really really good Star Wars moments. Moments where it's
mhm.
like using the Force lightsabers, stormtroopers, like the whole nine. Like some really really good Star Wars moments. Andor, like the moments that are the best are just fantastic stuff. Like it's like in a sci-fi setting, it is fantastic quality content.
Okay.
Which I think 6 episodes in, we haven't even seen a single stormtrooper. There's only a
Oh
couple
my
of like
gosh.
we've seen Imperial, but we haven't like seen actual like
Like
you
no
know
TIE fighters or
we've
anything.
seen a couple of Tie fighters, but like not until I think 5 episodes in, before we actually saw one.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
yeah, I
That's
think we saw
wild.
one of the like tri-wing transport ships.
hmm
I think we saw one of those.
Like the
Um,
Imperial shuttles or whatever.
yeah, but it's been mostly like local government and like local like police people who are like basically like subsidiaries of imperial control or whatever. But
Kind of like early Star Wars levels, rebels
yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like a lot with the Senate, how that happens
Oh,
in the
okay.
Empire now. Mon Mothma is a pretty like big character, which I thought was cool,
hmm
um, and like just the like I said, episode 6 in particular just is a culmination is like yeah a very big culmination of everything that happened so far, and just in what I believe to be very very good sci-fi moments just in general, which I thought was an interesting change of pace from just Star Wars moments. It's a good show. It's a very good show. Although I do sometimes forget that it is a Star Wars show, which I'm not sure how to feel about that. So I'll leave it at that for now. Yeah,
Fair enough. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah. It's good. I recommend it, but just don't go in expecting lightsabers and all the usual iconic stuff from Star Wars.
Oh yeah, no,
And I think it might be better because of that, but also I can see why some people are disappointed by it.
it's
But yeah,
different.
yeah,
Well, it's like, especially knowing it's Andor, because like Rogue One, outside of like the Darth Vader moments, wasn't really that big of, what I mean? Like there were stormtroopers and stuff, but like,
mm,
Rogue One, there were no like, lightsaber. There's only one lightsaber I think in the whole movie. It's just Vader, so it's like
yeah,
there's not a lot of like, I mean, there's space battles and stuff, but it's not the same. It's a lot of like from a perspective of like a regular person, not like a Jedi or something.
yeah.
So,
And it's been so because like it's been so weird because when you're watching Obi-Wan or The Mandalorian or whatnot, every 5 minutes there's this random new cameo or side character who just like who's from the Star Wars mythos who shows up. You're like,
mm-hmm,
oh, it's that person. I know that
mm-hmm.
person. They're in Star Wars. Especially Book of Boba Fett. It kind of overdid it with that, but whatever. But in this show, in Andor, like outside of Mon Mothma, I don't, I can't think of any other like named Star Wars characters who have shown up yet. Even though there are several times where I was like, oh, I wonder if this character will just randomly be here, or I wonder if this is a reference to, or if they're going to reference this Star Wars thing. They just kind of don't, which I think is interesting. So,
Hmm,
yeah,
different.
yeah, like Star Wars doesn't have to just be cameos every 5 minutes like Mandalorian and Boba Fett and Obi Wan were. Which not that that is bad, but it doesn't. It's just saying they can both be good in their own right, and I think people need to kind of understand that as opposed to just being like, this show isn't exactly how I thought it would be, so I deem it bad. Wait, as far as like acting and production value, it's some of the best Star Wars has ever been. So I don't know.
It's different, but that doesn't make it bad.
Yes, true. Um, yeah, I recommend it. Get around to it eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, anything else?
That's all I've got.
Okay. So with that, we'll see you all next time.
Take care.